Hello again and welcome back to our course on Project 2019. In this section, I'd like to take a quick look at the status bar. Now, I'm going to deal with it in two parts, the left part and the right part. But importantly, if you right-click anywhere on the status bar, you'll see a list of potential contents. And whatever's ticked is currently shown. Note the header there, Customize Status Bar. Now, you might be surprised to see so many ticks, but actually not very much information on the status bar at all. And the reason for this is that apart from the bottom two entries, View Shortcuts and Zoom Slider, which are the things that are shown at the right-hand end of the status bar, the things on the left correspond to optional pieces of information you can show, but which very often don't show anything at all. So for example, if you look at the item fourth down in the list there, filter, it's ticked. And what that means is that if a filter is being applied to the current view, show the name of the filter there. Now in this case, no filter is being applied and therefore you don't see anything. So with quite a few of these items, even though they're ticked, most of the time you won't see anything unless you're using that particular feature. Now there are a couple of things shown at the left-hand end. One of them is ready, which is the cell mode. If I click cell mode so that it's not shown, you'll see the effect. It no longer says ready because I'm not showing the cell mode. The other thing that's shown is whether new tasks are manually scheduled or auto-scheduled. If I click new tasks, it will no longer show that currently they're manually scheduled by default. Now the other items, although they're ticked, there's nothing to see. One of them that isn't ticked is this one, which is the macro recording indicator. We're currently not recording a macro, and a macro is a sequence of steps that we can replay automatically. If I check that, you'll see the little icon that indicates that we're not recording. If I started recording a macro and left this checked, then you would see a different icon whilst we're recording. And in fact, that icon would give you a way of stopping the recording also. We're not going to be covering macro recording anytime soon, so let's check that back off. Let's now concentrate on the right-hand end of the status bar. Now we're going to look at the bottom two options there, and the first one is View Shortcuts. This corresponds to this set of buttons that I can use to enable different views of my project. So let me just click away there. I currently have Gantt chart view. If I go to this one, that's task usage view. The next one is team planner view. We have resource sheet view, and finally report view. I'll be covering all of these later on in the course. And the fact that the second to bottom option is ticked means that those buttons are there to enable me to easily switch between those views. As an alternative to those, I can select the view I want from the View tab on the ribbon. And in fact, there are many more options on the View tab on the ribbon. The very bottom option is Zoom Slider, and this gives me access to the control that I can use to zoom in and out of the current view, which is this slider over here. So let me click out again and go to the slider. And this basically zooms by time. So as I zoom out, I get a broader view of time. So now you can see that I'm looking at quarters. If I zoom in by clicking the plus button, there I'm down to months, then weeks, then eventually I get down to individual days. It is quite a coarse control, but I can use that if I want to. Or on the View tab in the ribbon, there is a zoom group, and that lets me be much more accurate and much more flexible about how much I'm zoomed in on the current view. So that's it. That's the status bar. Please join me in the next section.